Alright guys, in this video we're going to take a look at a second fly pattern that's going to imitate the midge pupa, and that's the Black Beauty Midge. Um, so for this fly we're using a size 16 scud hook. This hook has a slight downturned eye, which is not what we would really like to use for midge patterns, but just for an instructional video. It's not really going to matter. So there's another pattern that's really easy to tie, just a few materials. Get our tying thread on here. The traditional pattern of this uses black thread. We're using 8/0 Uni-Thread, and then also some copper wire. For a size 16 hook, I'd usually use small wire, but in this case, we're going to be using the brassy size of copper wire. So it's a little bulkier than I would usually tie on, but again, just instructional video, doesn't really matter. And then the last material is just some dubbing for up at the thorax. So we're going to go ahead and tie our wire in here right behind the eye, and we're going to wrap this all the way back. And if you watch the zebra midge tying video, we kind of go over the thread wraps to get a nice tapered body. So we're doing that here just to imitate the naturals a little better. I'm going to tie this back all the way a little ways into the bend. I just like how the body looks tying past the bend. We're going to tie this up to, just leaving a little room behind the hook eye. And then we're just going to do nice even wraps up the body. And this is called a Black Beauty, and the traditional pattern uses, the black dubbing and the copper wire, but you can tie it any way you want to match the naturals. Let's tie in some tight wraps, secure in our wire, and then we're just going to helicopter this wire off. Maybe. There we go. And so now we're just going to use direct dubbing, and you can use whatever dubbing you like. A lot of people like beaver. Some people use some micro fine dubbing. In this case, I'm just using some black hairline dubbing. And the fibers are cut a little longer, but I kind of like a little bugginess on my thorax. Just because I think it's not just good for the midge pupa where you get some probe legs and everything coming off the thorax, but it makes it kind of a little bit into the emerging stage as well. So I'm just going to direct dub some of this on. And then just make a nice little kind of well-rounded thorax. And you can see with this dubbing how it's kind of buggy. It almost looks more like a nip pattern you would use, with like a hare's ear. We don't want that much bugginess, I don't think. I still like to keep a slimmer profile, but a little bit never hurts. I just think it gives a little bit more movement in the water, this material. So I think I'm gonna trim off a little bit of this. But I mean, this is the fly, and that's all there is to a Black Beauty. Do a little whip finish. And there you have it. That's your Black Beauty Midge. And just like the zebra midge, very few materials, very easy to tie, and more importantly, they catch fish. So there's a lot you can do with a Black Beauty Midge. Just like the zebra midge, you can, make this more of an emerger pattern. Really popular is also to add a glass bead right behind the eye, and this technically is called a mercury midge, but that's great and a fantastic emerger pattern, because as these pupa rise, they catch a lot of gas bubbles around their thorax, and it gives kind of a glittery appearance. And that glass bead is perfect for imitating that. So let's tie one more of these. I'm actually going to go with silver wire on this fly. I think I'm going to change up the dubbing a little bit. But the technique's the exact same. And I really like the Black Beauty with its depth control. Um, because this is a pupa pattern, I think it is most effective, mid-water column or a little above that. And with a strike indicator, you can really get this in the water you want, or some split shot if you want to go a little deeper. But these things are going to be effective wherever you put them, as long as that's where the trout are feeding. And I've always found with midge pupa patterns, Black Beauty, Zebra Midge, we're going to, again, just nice even wraps. I've always had a lot of success with these type of patterns at the end of a drift. You start to kind of get that bend, and I like to just lift the tip of the rod just a little bit, and it kind of pulls that midge pupa up in the water column. And if you ever see videos of midge pupa, they're kind of swimming up, drifting down, trying to get to the top. Get that wire off. Now, here I'm just going to use some microfine dubbing. I think it's a darker gray coloring. And this just gives a little tighter thorax than the previous dubbing did. But yeah, into drifts, a little rod raise, raise that fly up in the water. I've gotten a lot of strikes at the end of drifts doing that, just because I think it imitates the movement of midge pupa in the water. And that's the case with, any pupa pattern you're working with, not just the Black Beauty. Entire thorax. Add just a bit more. There you go, whip finish, and there's another midge pupa, ready to hit the water. Maybe. There we go. That's the Black Beauty. So we've covered 2 midge pupa patterns. You check out our Zebra Midge instructional video. This is the second. And we're also going to have a couple videos looking at different stages of the midge pupa, including some emerger patterns and then adult patterns. But super effective fly. Anytime you're on the river, you need to have some midge pupa in your box.